I'm here today on the Charles River Greenway, a nice little bike path along the Charles River a few miles outside of Boston. Today I'm not talking about the little bike path, I'm not talking about America's cleanest urban river, I'm talking about this wall. Well, not the wall itself, but what was in this wall. I guess it technically still is in the wall, but we can't access it anymore. If you look closely, I believe that little piece of metal sticking out is one remaining pad from the USB plug still hanging on. This used to be a dead drop. The term is much scarier than the object itself. A dead drop is just a USB stick that's embedded in a wall, a building, maybe a crack in the sidewalk. Dead drops were originally intended to be a way for you to share files with other people or save them for yourself without needing the internet. Now you'd think, being near Boston, Cambridge, MIT, Harvard, there'd be a lot of these. But the reason we're all the way out in Watertown is that this was actually the last one marked working in the area on the Dead Drops database, created by artist Aram Bartholl in 2010. And even that, we can see, isn't the case. One of the original ones was in the Chinatown neighborhood of Boston for a long time, but that was actually marked missing, not working, broken in December at the end of 2021. The businesses on the corners have changed in the 11 years since it was installed, but I was able to find a distinctly USB stick-shaped hole in the wall where I presume it once presided. Now, the most obvious question to all this is why? Why would anyone take the time and energy to store things on USB sticks that will eventually break or go missing, stuck in random walls? Aram Bartholl, the artist I just mentioned, he didn't invent the concept of dead drops. They've existed in popular movies, TV shows, video games for a long time. What he did do was make an online database that's free and open that anyone can add to, that outlines where dead drops can be found, when they were last known to be working, among other things. He also wrote a manifesto saying why he thinks people should use them and why he thinks they're necessary. Most of it talks about what dead drops should and shouldn't be and how they should be installed, but he ends with why he thinks they're strictly necessary. Aram Bartholl finishes the Dead Drop Manifesto with, "In an era of growing clouds and fancy new devices without access to local files, we need to rethink the freedom and distribution of data. Make your own dead drop now. Uncloud your files today." Looking at that, I have one problem with it, and it's with 12 years of hindsight, the cloud was minuscule when that was written. You know, the current iPhone at the time was the iPhone 4. Apple iCloud wouldn't come out until 2011, and Google Drive wouldn't come out until April of the year after that. We are a far cry from the world of today, where when Amazon Web Services goes down, people's fridges and robot vacuums stop working. So I guess I ask the question again, why? Why put your data on USB sticks and walls? Aram calls dead drops an anonymous, offline, peer-to-peer file sharing network in a public space. He calls people to free their data in the public domain of cement. Aram was born in 1972. He grew up with a very different internet than the one that I did. There wasn't as much shine and polish, and as big tech companies started to add shine and polish, they talked more and more about moving people's data off of their devices and into the cloud. There's a tenet of computer security that if someone has unfettered physical access to your device, you can't trust that device to be secure anymore. So if we were starting to be expected to move our data off of our computers and onto other people's, how could we trust that to be secure? I think it's only fair that I mention plugging random USB sticks in your computer is also not a good cybersecurity practice, especially with the prevalence of bad USBs popping up in the last few years, which skip the computer viruses and go straight to frying your motherboard. Computer enthusiasts tend to romanticize the idea of peer-to-peer networks, and anyone that cares enough to install one is going to be part of the movement and wouldn't do that. Now, just to be clear, I think that's lovely. And even though this old internet, overwhelming trust of peer-to-peer networks isn't as common anymore, I think the project's been a huge success. An overarching theme of Aram Bartholl's work is trying to get people to renegotiate and re-examine their relationship with being online. Building a network of physical storage devices that you need to travel to access and hold your computer against a wall to use certainly accomplishes that. There are over 2,000 drops registered on the database with over 68 terabytes of capacity. And I'm sure they're not all real. I doubt there are any in Antarctica. There are still more being added all the time. Someone in Germany added one last week. Someone in New York City added 7 last month. And I'm sure some more will pop up in Boston soon. If you want to check it out for yourself, I'll link the website to the database below, or you can go to deaddrops.com. I'll also link Aram's site if you want to see what he's been up to in the last 12 years. Thank you so much for watching.